These are the 5 secrets to a cinematic mix. Number 1, use 2 reverbs instead of 1. Use a convolution reverb first to add a sense of room, of space around your sound, even if you are using wet.
Why should you invest in stocks on eToro?
With eToro, I can invest in US stocks with 0 commission.
There are 46 cars heading to the Monza grid, ready for the first GT4 European Series race of 2021. It is some grid and it's going to be some race, that is for sure, because it is absolutely full of fascinating cars and drivers, a great mix of young guns looking to make a GT career, some established drivers, some driver combinations that we've seen before, many new ones too, and with such a busy grid, plus mandatory pit stops, an awful lot can happen. Welcome then to the first round of GT4 European Series 2021. David Addison with you, Gemma Scott down on the grid and in the pit lane. And as the cars make their way to the grid, it is based on the qualifying times set within the first of the two sessions that took place earlier on in the day at Monza. And it is Johann Sturm who lines up then on pole position. The Monza circuit, just under 6 kilometres in its length. Of course, there's the first chicane, always that pinch point before they accelerate around the Curva Grande up to the middle chicane, the two Lesmo curves, down to the Variante Ascari, the straight down to the Parabolica, and that long slipstreaming dash up towards the timing line. 10 turns in total, and 10 minutes to go before the start of the formation lap here for the opening round of a championship that really has bounced back. Last year, a number of teams had to withdraw their entries from the series, saying, we'll be back, promise, we'll come back next year when things are a little bit clearer. And in spite of everything that's still going on in the world, back they have come. They've been good as their word, and many of the drivers returning with a few shuffle driver combinations, as I say. So there's an awful lot to look forward to. Got some British interest in the championship this year once more as well. And interestingly, a championship that, after having a very strong Dutch GT4 championship a few years ago, had a very Dutch feel to it being in the European Series. So as the French GT Championship has gone the GT4 route, many of those drivers and teams spilling over into this. So it's got a very French feel currently, the GT4 European Series, but not exclusively French. It's a very cosmopolitan entry, that is for sure. And looking down onto the grid there, as you can see, the last few cars making their way forward. Pole position to Joel Sturm and Nikolai Moller-Madsen in the Porsche. And the car on the outside of the front row, the CMR Toyota, CMR being classic modern racing, while Antoine Potti and Stéphane Lemeray, the two Belgian drivers. So there you can see, coming out of the Parabolica up to the grid itself, 5 minutes before the formation lap gets underway. And mandatory pit stops, of course, between the 25-35 minute mark. 95 seconds is the pit stop time, line to line. But if you're changing tyres, then you have to stop for 125. There shouldn't be a need to go from, for example, in this context, slicks to wets, because the weather is fair for the day. It is going to remain like this. Not the warmest of days, we understand from those outside, but it is sunny at least. And there is Joel Sturm, not Strum, Sturm, who is the man on pole position. Nikolai Moller-Madsen will do the second stint in the Allied Racing Porsche. Allied Racing running a GT3 Porsche as well. That's sadly looking very second-hand after an accident in pre-qualifying, so a win here might lift everyone's spirits for the day. Antoine Potti ready to start in the number 8 Toyota. And on the outside of the front row, Antoine Potti, who's been doing some rallying in the winter months, as well as getting as many miles testing the Toyota as he can under his belt. He's ready to go. On the outside of the front row of the grid there, on the third row, is the CMR Alpine that is going to be started by Loris Cabirou. And then that Alpine will have alongside the Markus Lundstrasse Aston Martin that there just arrives into position. Now, Gemma Scott is down on the grid, and so too is Nikolai Moller-Madsen, who'll do the second stint in the pole-sitting Porsche. Let's hear from the Danish driver right now.
Nikolai, yourself and Joel on pole down here for this first race of the season. Joel obviously starting, you'll take the second stint. Going into that first corner, what can we expect?
It's going to be a tight one now, 47 cars. I mean, our plan was to start in the top to avoid some accidents, and Joel made a perfect job with doing a P1, so I hope everybody respects each other. It's the first race of the year, and everybody knows that it's a long race, so everybody will get around the corner. And then if we get around the first corner, I think the other one has to wake up, because Joel is fast here.
Yeah, speaking to Joel earlier on after the qualifying session, he said the car was absolutely on point.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, our engineers did a good job. it seems like we did a too good job, so we got a new BOP now, and I think we can still manage this. And the goal is now that Joel is going to pull a gap, and then I can manage the gap in the last stint, and then our engineer need a new haircut tonight. So that's the plan.
Have a good race. Thank you.
So the Porsche with a different BOP. So you hear Nikolai Malamadsen suggest. There's another of the quick Caymans. Great looking cars these. Ivan Jacoma. Drivers nervous in the pit lane, ready to see what pans out. The race director, the British official, Steve Burns, if he's happy, will give the indication that the lights can change to get the race underway. And the cars then now accelerate their way through the Parabolica. The two lines of traffic ready to go into battle then. Slowly through the Parabolica, the clock starts on instruction. It is a 60-minute race, mandatory pit stops of course, and so 22, Joel Sturm on pole position, Antoine Potti lining up alongside him. They make their way now up towards the timing line, which is coming out of the Parabolica. Start line, finish line, slightly different places. There are the lights on the gantry, and in a moment then the lights will change to get the race underway as the cars now are released. They blast away, and a good start made by the Toyota on the outside of the front row, also looking to try to make progress. Ivan Jacomi in the Porsche from the second row there, looking for a gap in the middle, but he can't take it. It's Antoine Potti who gets the drag for the race lead. Bailey Voisin finds a gap on the outside line in the first of the orange and blue McLarens as they break for the first chicane. Many ride the curb on the inside in the middle of the pack though. Are they all going to survive? Does anybody get turned around? This is always real heart-in-mouth stuff. 1 or 2 bounce over the curb, but so far 30 odd have got through, nearly 40 have got through. I think all of them have got through, and the race leaders power their way through the Curva Grande for the first time. Antoine Potti leads the pack then, and he's just trying to edge away ever so slightly. Joel Sturm is in second place. Ivan Jacoma there is third. It's Bailey Voisin in fourth. Marcus Lundstrass fifth. Ruben Del Sart, another graduate of the British Ginetta Junior scene, running in sixth place. Gus Bauer seventh. Jamie Caroline is eighth. Loris Cabarou ninth. And Fabio Michel 10th as dust settling. 87 is the Mercedes of Jean-Luc Bobely. A long way back, but we need to put Jim Plower in that car for the second stint. Watch it fly. Jacoma there, turning his way up through the Lesmo curves, and now heading down towards the Variante Ascari for the first time. So Potti in the Toyota didn't qualify as well as Joel Sturm, but the BOP has been looked at for the Porsches, and that was what Nikolai Moller-Madsen was not overly happy about on the grid, and it now means that that Porsche is having to play catch-up against the Toyota. Jacoma is third still in his 718 Cayman. At the back of the pack currently is number 8, Christian Gysi. So the cars now run through the Variante Ascari for the first time. Big slide there, look, from one of the Mercedes that got all crossed up. Just about survived, but that might have caused 1 or 2 people to have a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment as the pack came onto that very fast section of the circuit down towards the Parabolica, up towards the end of the opening lap of the race. And I think it might have been the Trivelato Racing Mercedes of Francesco Guerra. Right, lap 1 is done, and Antoine Potti in the Toyota leads the way, but now Joel Sturm is coming back at him, the 19-year-old German driver. He was in the German GT4 series last year, now moving into the European series. Third is Evan Jacoma. Fourth is Bailey Voisin there. Look, the McLaren lining up to have a go possibly as they come to the braking area. Marcus Lundstrass fifth, and he's under attack from Ruben Del Sart there, who gets up the inside, hits the curb. As long as that's all he hits, that's okay. He avoids making contact with Lundstrass. That car of Lundstrass fifth at the moment, but his co-driver, Henrik Pedersen, was the slowest in his session, so it might well be, on that evidence, one that falls way back in the second stint, as now Bailey Voisin comes up to have a go at the Porsche ahead of him. So Ivan Jacoma fending him off just as they come up towards the second of the chicanes. There is Del Sart now ahead of Lundstrass, and Gus Bowers there being given a bit of a workover by Jamie Caroline. Jamie goes through back up into 7th place. Replay of the start. Have a look at the Toyota on the outside of the front row. Really good getaway that by Antoine Potti. Lights change, race blasts into life, and as the cars accelerated away, so the Toyota using its grunt in a straight line to get up on the outside line, take the advantage as they run down towards the Rettifilio chicane for the first time. But just look at all the traffic behind, how crowded that was, and this is where you've got to be respectful. You've got to try and give a little bit of room just to survive and then be able to think about your race. As far as I could see, nobody actually getting in enough strife to even need to take to the escape road, which is very good to see indeed. 3 wide there, with 126 being run out a little bit wide. The Mercedes of Philippe Vava. but they all survived it. Right, up to the end of lap 2 they come, and Antoine Potti leads the way, but Joel Sturm coming back at him now. That gap down between the leaders. Ivan Jacoma is in 3rd place still. Bailey Voisin is 4th. And there, the blue BMW to the inside, looking to gain ground. Number 12, that is. So that's the car that is shared by Cembolo Bazi and Bekere Vessler. Cembolo Bazi at the wheel of it at the moment. Good sim racer as well as real world racer, and making progress as he comes up towards the end of lap 2 there. Potti still leading, but now, if anything, that battle pack is growing. 4 for the lead, and number 22 Porsche, Joel Sturm, right on the back of the Belgian driver. Then the Toyota leading the Porsche at the moment, and a safety car board I see there. And that's the reason, because somebody's had a sizable moment. That's at the Variante Ascari, is it not? And that is 45 Hugo Condé. And he has done a right old number on the barrier and on that car. So there's debris on the road, there's liquid on the road. There it is, just at the top of the screen. Boom, round it went into the barrier. Their time, and they can make less of a difference. But if you've got your slower driver in, then you're not really wasting him, because they can't go at a proper race pace right now. So it gives the advantage perhaps back to those teams with their quicker driver in for the second stint. So the cars currently behind the safety car carry on down towards the Variante Ascari, but it might be a good 2 or 3 laps, I would have thought, before that road is going to be able to receive cars at race pace. Well, it depends, I suppose, not just getting the car out of the way, but how much barrier damage has been incurred as well. We'll check back on that once the damaged race car is out of harm's way. Now it's about keeping tyres and pressures relevant. Tyre temperature up, tyre pressures up as best they can, down towards the Parabolica they come. And looking in the background there, Ruben Del Sart turns through.
Did you promise yourself 2021 would be the year you'd be more productive? Get all your work and life organized? Everyone does, few actually do. ClickUp is on a mission to change this, and our users are loving it. Josh said on Capterra, "This is the best productivity system that exists right now." Paige said, "As a productivity nut who has tried everything else, I've finally found it, and I'm telling all my friends." And Jose let us know on Twitter, productivity went up 250%. Try ClickUp today, and your resolution will thank you tomorrow.
So confirmation that the safety car is because of number 45, which is the sole casualty. A fairly sizable casualty, I'll grant you, but it's the only one of the first few laps. There's the safety car then, so the procedure has been adhered to, the boards were there, and at the end of the lap the car is ready to receive the leader. So there's no ambiguity, it's all done properly, not like a mad scramble where it picks up somebody in umpteenth place and it all becomes a nightmare. There's Hugo Condé looking at what's racing tomorrow, but it does rather depend on how that car is able to be repaired overnight. So the drivers turn through now on this, what is 4th lap of the race. All these, of course, count within the hour, and eager to get on with life. 1 or 2 of the drivers starting to be a bit more committed, a bit more energetic in the pack there, further back, but it won't be long, I think, before now that car is out of harm's way, we will be good to go. Safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap, therefore. So as they turn through, speeds are building. Safety car will try and quicken its pace to help the drivers get the tyres back up to temperature, get the pressures back up as well. So you can expect the safety car crew to be starting to increase that pace pretty shortly. So 46 there were, 45 there still are, and what more drama can come. So all being well, the officials should be good to release the cars. There's confirmation from race control. Safety car in at the end of this lap, and as they turn through the left and the right, the left of the Variante Ascari, past the incident zone. Yeah, I think it's just the Fanatec banner that has really suffered. There are plenty more of those, so the message gets across. We'll get the race back underway. Lights out then atop the safety car. That's the indication that it is going to peel in this time that we will go racing.